The Love Food Hate Waste campaign is really important behaviour changing campaign. The small things that we can do in the kitchens to make sure we don't waste food, things like storing food properly, making sure we understand our freezers, using up all our leftovers, making tasty new recipes. I think are a brilliant way to save a bit of money and also have an impact on the amount of waste that we're throwing away.
It's all about reducing the amount of food that gets thrown into landfill. And we do that by giving you some top tips on how to save some money, how to plan meals, understanding what date labels mean, and generally having some good inspiration for just being in the kitchen and enjoying cooking.
This morning we're doing something in conjunction with the Love Food Hate Waste campaign. I've got 6 recipes I've got in my little sheet, but we're going to do 3 of them today. We're going to use up some leftover macaroni cheese, which people think, what can you do with that? Well, we're going to actually make little cakes out of them, breadcrumb them, pan fry them and serve them with a little onion relish. And when you get a taste, it'll be, oh, it's quite nice. Better than you thought, better than putting it in a bin. Also, sometimes people have a Sunday roast, you have a bit of mashed potato left over. Now, people always do bubble and squeak and stuff like that, but we're going to do a little onion, chive, and poached egg with a little fry cake. And that's quite simple. And I haven't got any chives, and that's the whole idea of this is that it's use up what you've got left. And I happen to have some parsley left, so I'm going to put a bit of parsley in. And then the last one I'm going to do today is a roast, leftover roast meat rissole, if you like. The recipe says pork, but I haven't got any pork, so I've got chicken left over, so we'll do it with chicken. We've got some butter on the stove there, and the reason I'm doing that is get this onion sliced, nice finely diced. And we just want to get that roughly chopped up. If you can't do that fine, don't worry. Put it in a blender, and the blender will do it just as easy. Okay, get rid of the end. And we'll get the onion into here. You need to cook the onion a little bit because if you put it into the mashed potato raw, when we come to fry it a little bit next, the onion won't taste right and it'll just be a bit crunchy and we want it a bit softer. Bit of leftover parsley. Just chop it up quick and rough. Now also a lot of you have in the fridge bits of old cheese that have got forgotten, gone to the back. I know I do, and I'm a professional chef, so any bits of old cheese that have dried up a little bit, you think, oh, what do I normally do with that? Throw it in the bin. Well, just because it's dried up, there's not actually much wrong with it. And I've got some old cheese here, a bit of old blue cheese, a bit of old Cheshire, any old bit of cheese. Just throw a bit of that in with your mash. To help bind it, we need to add to this mixture an egg. Now the egg yolk's just giving it a bit of richness. And the reason I'm doing this first is because it's got to be, when it's mixed, it's got to be set in the fridge for a little bit. Something you can make up beforehand. It's also quite nice when you see me finish it. If you want to do something fancy for a dinner party that you've got leftovers to use up, so you can do a dinner party on a budget, is basically do them smaller than I'm going to do them and get a quail's egg rather than a hen's egg and poach that. Put it on top of a little bit of black pudding. It's a brilliant little starter. Sometimes you feel it and you think, oh, it's a little bit wet. So any old stale bread you got left, turn it to breadcrumbs. The onions are cooked enough for us, so they're going to go in there. We won't wash that because we're going to use that again in a bit. Voila. So mix all these together. This will have to be a little bit rude and turn my back on you, but I've got some cling film there. Well, I'm just going to literally put this into the cling film and make it into a sausage. Roll it up, pop it in the fridge, let it go firm while we do the other 2 dishes. Now I've got a little cutter, and I've already cut one out, so I'll get that one out first. Okay, and just get it, now you've got a little piece of macaroni cheese. It doesn't fall apart. It says here, fingers crossed. I'll leave that in there, and we'll cut another one out. And again, if you don't want, I mean, because you can make a little ball out of them with the little bits that are left. The reason I'm doing this is it just looks pretty. But you cut them in squares and have no waste at all. But I'm just doing it to make it look a bit prettier. So you've got your little cutter, and then we'll just do a couple, just to get us going. And any little bits like that you think are going to fall out, just put them there and they'll be fine. Right. Let's see this. We'll do one more so everyone can have a taste. So we've got the egg, the flour and the breadcrumb. Something we gave the French. They call it pain à l'anglaise. So it must be something we've done right, if the French actually like it. So you've got them in there. Just cover them in some flour all the way around. But this is a great way to and it goes great with the little onion relish that we're going to make as well. So get rid of the excess flour, you don't want too much flour. Again, just run them through the egg so that they get egg all over them, and like so, and into the breadcrumbs. If you've got the small macaroni, it's even better. This is, if you like, real macaroni. Right, so that goes there. Just leave them to sit there for a minute. Remember, all these recipes are not set in stone, they're just ideas. Any of the ideas you can use alternate products for them, doesn't really matter. Got an onion, remove the core. One, it's bitter. To it, when you come to slice the onion, it won't stay in one piece, it'll fall apart a bit. Now for this we need a little splidge of oil. There's already some butter in there. The reason we do the both is that if you just did butter on its own, when we're going to do this product, it'll actually burn before the butter. Okay, so get the onion, get it a little, and just slice it, nice and fine. So we've got our butter and our oil, we've got our onion, which you need to break up your fingers a bit. I'm going to get them to sweat off, and we'll use this beast again. Now this sweet onion relish is really quite quick, simple and easy. I've got a bit of old balsamic vinegar left over here, but you can use malt vinegar, red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, cider vinegar, sherry vinegar, any vinegar. Even wine that you should have drunk a week ago. You can get away with that as well if you like. So we just want those to get softened, really. If you've got time, you can get them golden brown and really caramelise them. And if you get that far, you can caramelise them so they're really dark and golden brown. You won't need as much sugar as I'm going to add to get the relish, because you'll get a lot of natural sugar out of the onions. So we've got our little cakes, okay? I'm going to pop them in the oil and start to fry them. We've got one that's going to be a rascal here that's probably going to fall apart on us, but we don't mind. It's all right. You've got to break it to eat it. They're doing lovely. And then here is it's a mixture of malt and balsamic actually. I'm just going to put a little bit of that in there. And that should fill the room with lots of lovely aroma. Right, we can turn that one off now, let it finish on its own heat. Get some nice colour on these. And as you fry them, they tend to hold themselves up, and you can fry them about a bit. The only one was a bit soft as that one. This is also very good for dinner parties. Make them smaller, really tiny. And you can make them to balls if you like, so a bit tight, and you can deep fry them and as a little canopy with your drinks when people arrive. Right, so put that one there. Put that one there. A bit of this on there, just on the side. There's the first dish. So basically you just unroll it, get it out of the cling film. We've got our flour again. We need flour for this one. And if I remember which cupboard I put it in, yep. Another frying pan. Now, whenever you're poaching eggs, I'm sure you've all poached eggs before, a little bit of vinegar in the water makes a big, big difference. But if you've got very fresh eggs, you don't need it. But unless you've got hens in the back garden nowadays, fresh eggs are hard to find. Because the government denote a fresh egg as under 29 days old from laid. So that isn't really fresh in my book, but when you're feeding 60 million, I suppose you've got to. So, anyway, potato cake. It's got cheese, chive, parsley, onion, salt, pepper. Cut it about so big. So it's held up quite well. And we're just going to sit it in the flour for a second. We'll do a couple of these. Your hands are clean. It's probably better than a glove because the glove's been in and out somewhere, other places so many times. Right. We're literally just, we're going to flour them up. Okay. Little pat, pat, pat. And into our pan. Get rid of the excess flour, otherwise you'll find you'll end up with a ruin in the pan that you didn't expect to get. And as they cook, the moisture in those little rissoles will start to evaporate and they'll actually firm up, they won't be as soft. See, that's how quick they are. I'll turn them all over first. The other two won't really, but that's the colour they get straight away and look quite sexy, really, aren't they? When you come to taste them with a runny egg on top, it really is delicious. It's done, and then let them go cool. And then later on in the evening, when your dinner party's about to kick off or whatever, these can go in the oven. Job done. Poaching eggs in a minute to stop them from sticking to each other. Plonk it in there. Bit of kitchen roll, if you're feeling brave. If not, onto another plate and go from there. And not ready. Nearly ready. So a few seconds and we'll have these eggs. Go on there. Brilliant. And also the little rissoles are ready as well. Simple. And it's not Russian or anything like that, it really is simple. Get your egg out of the water, onto a cloth, just to take away the excess liquid. Okay, it's a fresh bit of kitchen roll. Into your hand, don't do that unless you're a professional chef or you burn yourself, like I just did. Into there again. It's best to use something like this because the excess liquid is horrible. Plonk that on top like so. And then you do this on the plate, not for yourself with your fork, but put that to there. Who wants to go first? Just cut the yolk just through there and watch it all. Look at that oozing out. That's what I call sexy food. And there's the other one. Okay. Now all I'm doing is just roughly chopping this so I can fit it into the machine. Now there's some spices in this because, you know, a bit of old roast meat, although it's quite pleasant, it's not going to be much flavour in it. So I've got a bit of garlic. Give it a little bash. This happens to be smoked garlic. Again, because we're using up leftovers, I smoked my own garlic, and I had a couple that didn't sell in the shop, and they start to get a little bit of a green sprout on them. I don't know if you can see that there. No harm, but they need to be used, so we're using that as a piece of garlic. Some red pepper, put that there. Now, to aid the machine, we need to give it a little dice. So if you put it into the machine whole, by the time you got this broken up, the thing would have turned into a puree, and we don't really want a puree. Now you can dice like this, or you can take your time. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so they're diced, they go in there as well. And, well, at least you could eat that one, but you can't eat this one, but you can eat the last one. Good. Okay, and also I'm going to put in here now a little bit of dried chilli flakes. As much or as little as you like, and if you don't like chilli, don't bother. You know, it's not a necessity. It is in my world because you need a little bit of kick, a little bit of spice of life. A little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt, some coriander, ground coriander. If I can get the wrapper off without doing that there. Again, a little sprinkle. The recipes are all in the sheets. I'm doing less than the recipe says, so you don't think, oh, you didn't put that much in. It's because I got less. A little bit of paprika, give it a little bit of colour. Use sweet, don't use the hot because you've already got the dry chilli in there. If you use the picante, it will actually blow your socks off and then you get all your taste of hot mouth and it won't be very nice. Okay, so we give it a little whiz. If I can find the lid, it'll be in the right spot. You see one of these cookery programs, they can't work the lids out. Oh, it's all of us. Come on, Carl, you know you can do it. What's going on here? Right, we'll do it the I knew it fit. It was fit this morning, so it should fit now. Okay, so give it a quick whiz. Turn the power on. That good. Right, I remember which way it went in this time. Okay, put it there. As you can see, you're not going to make rissoles out of that because it's all wibbly wobbly. So, whole egg this time, no waste. Voila. Get in there. Come on. But you also want to, you know, give it a bit of body. So you need a few little breadcrumbs. Probably that many. Might not be enough. We'll find out in a moment. And we've got our little mixture, which looks quite perfect. Good. Because it's all cooked, there's nothing raw in there, apart from the egg, but it won't do any harm, to be honest. Taste it. Has it got enough salt? Has it got enough pepper? Has it got enough of what you like? As long as it has, we're laughing. Okay. Just get your hand, and you make little balls. Try and make them sort of slightly fat, so when we come to fry them, they're not rolling around your pan like meatballs, so like so. Okay. And we're going to make a lovely sauce to go with these. Again, any size, doesn't matter what size it is. Again, it's another little job you could use as dinner parties, as little nibbles. And when we come to fry them, they're just going to be, well, we're going to cheat actually, we're not going to fry them in a pan at all. We're going to put them straight in the oven like this. I've got some in the fridge ready made from earlier. Well, the oven's preheated. All I want to do is pop them straight in the oven like that. And forget about them. And in the meantime, we're going to make a really lovely sauce, which is quite lovely and tasty. It's a mixture of ketchup, tomato puree, red wine, coriander, chilli, garlic and onion. Okay, so we've got a bit of onion. So we've got sliced the onion. That will go in there. Another clove of garlic to go in. So we've diced the pepper as well. Now this has got a bit of red wine in it as well. I don't know about you, but I normally drink it all as if I open a bottle, but occasionally you go to bed and there's a bit left and you'll leave it on the side, put a cork in it, and someone might use it for their gravy the next day. Well, we're going to use it in this one. Okay. Now we want to sweat these off until they're nice and soft. But we don't have to have these golden brown, we just want to get them cooked a little bit. Because the process of the liquid and so on will, yeah, they're doing great. We'll finish it off. And the sweetness of the ketchup, get it that nice sort of, almost like a fancy sweet and sour if you like. The salt and pepper. And unfortunately this is cooking wine. It's been seasoned to stop. I think it was designed by someone who decided the chefs were getting too drunk. So they thought the best thing to do is season the wine, then we won't drink it. But you'd be surprised what you drink when you've had a hard day. Okay, so we got that far. We'll now give it the old salt and pepper. We don't need any more chilli in there because the heat from the meatball should be enough. All right, so we've seasoned it. Put it on full red wine, in she goes. Then we need to add tomato puree. Vegetable stock, chicken stock, corporation stock. We all know what corporation stock is, do we? Water. Or Anglian stock, we should call it nowadays. Use your finger, use a spoon. All the reason I'm putting that in there is just to get out that excess ketchup. Don't want to waste it. Every bit counts. At home, you'll probably have it in the squeezy bottle in the fridge anyway. And yes, ketchup should be kept in the fridge if you didn't know. Amount of people who still keep it in the cupboard, and then when you tell them, read the label, it says refrigerator, I'll throw them. Lasts twice as long. In my house, it never lasts that long anyway. Okay, so we've got that in there. We're going to a little bit more stock to get a nice, thick, shiny, chunky sauce. And lovely. Turn that one round to about there. I'm going to put that on there, and we're going to let that tick away nicely. Now, halfway through your process in the oven, you want to turn these over so you can get the colour on the other side. If you've got a wooden chopping board, you can do this. If you've got a plastic one, please don't do it. It won't work. Make sure they don't stick like that one did. And just turn it over. Now, you wouldn't normally do this at home, but I'm doing it for the purpose of tasting. What you could do at home is a bit of rice, a bit of boiled rice, a bit of pasta. Put that pasta on the plate. Put a few, put a few balls on top, and then put the sauce over top. And there's your little rissoles with some tomato and pepper sauce. We've cooked up some nice little dishes. 3 dishes we've done in around about 45 minutes. The feedback from the customers has been very good. I'm hoping to get a few new ones from into my shop as well. And the only downside is that I've got to do the blasted washing up. But other than that, it's all pretty cool.